Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Man, I got a great show for you today. This is going to be a good conversation all around personal growth, because personal growth is it's the improvement of our skills, our knowledge, wisdom, our habits, our behaviors, and just our personal qualities. And personal development allows you to reach your full potential, be your best self, and live your happiest and most successful life. That's what it's designed to do when you grow personally. And so think of personal growth as any positive mental, physical, or spiritual transformation. And it's not just about learning, it's also about applying whatever you're learning so it can become a part of who you are. I'm LA Davis, and this is the Growth State of Mind. And this show is all about personal growth and development. And today, I'm having a conversation with Jonathyn J. Williams. And Jonathyn is in the spiritual self-improvement space. He serves and leads in over 20 plus cities, and he is actively involved in the community. He owns a clothing line, and he also hosts a podcast. So everybody, welcome to the show, Jonathyn J. Williams. What's going on, Jonathyn?
Hey man, appreciate it. Love that intro. Thank you so much for having me here. Truly humbled and blessed to be here, and I'm looking forward to it, bro. Appreciate it.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. So let's just jump in straight into it, man. When we think about personal growth. Like I said, that encompasses everything, right? It encompasses everything in your life. You know, it can be financially, it can be spiritually, it
Yeah.
can be health wise, just personal growth and development, and it could also be faith. And so you and I both believe that people should grow in their faith, right?
Mhm.
And so why is that important, and how does a person grow in their faith?
Oh, great question. So going back to the origin of faith, Hebrews 11:1 says, "Faith is the substance of all things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen." The way I look at faith is just expectation. How do you get better at riding a bike? You continue to ride the bike. How do you get better at praying? You pray. How do you get better at anything? It's just progress, taking one step after another, continue to walk. Um, the overall goal of bettering your faith is because every time God takes you to a next dimension, you have to be willing to live up to that. The Bible puts it this way: "To whom much is given, much is required." Therefore, the more God gives you, the more that is required of you to maintain the giving. And so, the importance of growing your faith is that so you're able to basically meet the level as you level up, is what I like to say. There have been countless times in my life to where uh, I've had moments to where mm, my faith wasn't matching the requirement needed to be matched. And so the importance of it is just making sure that you're able to maintain what God has given you. And so if you want to be able to basically step into something, you have to have your faith continue to be growing. You cannot just stay in one place and stay content. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, I think so. I guess a follow on to that would be, some people may look at that and say, how do I grow my faith? Because if God is going to do something, he's going to do something, right? Or
Mm,
if he's God, right? Especially for
right,
those
right.
people who are not seasoned or not experienced, they
Or
don't
yeah,
they don't have spiritual maturity, right?
right, right.
And so definitely for those, and even for some people who are think that they're super deep and spiritual, because they just kind of are that way, they might not
Mhm.
even think that, I need to grow my faith, right?
Right.
And so can a person actually learn how to grow their faith versus a person who, or is just something that you just have, right?
No, I would not say it's something that you just have. Me speaking on experience, I've actually been in seasons of life to where I had no faith. I was just living and just living just to live. Um, the basis of how to grow your faith is literally how, like, you just have to. Okay, so just speaking from the spiritual the aspect for a second. Okay, you grow your faith by opening the Word, reading the Word, praying to God. You know what I'm saying? God will, what's for you is for you, right? But I was speaking to somebody the other day and I said, God is too much of a businessman to invest in a bankrupt system. You have to have capacity to receive what he has for you. You know what I'm saying? You can't just wake up and pray and then, oh, it's gonna happen. Or you can't wait. No, you have to put in the work for it. You got to put in the work for it. You have to understand. You have to meet. He will meet you where you are, but he's not going to meet you if you're laying down. He has to. The reason why God won't give you something too early is because if he gives it to you and you lose it, then it'll make everything he said in the Bible look false. So in order to grow your faith, open the Bible, read it, pray. You have to fast, whatever it is, whatever type of thing that you're into, you have to put in work towards it. So for me, you know what I'm saying? I wake up in the morning in the Bible. I'm listening. I'm learning more about what God does, who Jesus is, what he's done for us, the things of that salvation, all of those needs. You have to, I guess a better way to answer your question is you have to make progress. You have to make progress. Remember, faith is not going in the right direction. Faith is just walking, right? Faith is just walking. You don't need, it's like walking with a blindfold on. You don't know what's on the other side, but I'm going to walk because I trust. You don't know if you're going to get that job opportunity. You may be less qualified, but I'm going to trust. I'm going to walk. Peter did it. When Jesus told Peter to walk on the water, he was walking, but when he stopped looking and when he stopped trusting, when he stopped believing, he fell. So you have to have enough courage, right, to work on your faith, to just walk. He'll meet you exactly where you are, but you have to walk. You have to put in the work.
So talking about, and we may come back to that, but let's just talk about, we a lot of us go through things, right? And sometimes when we go through things, it completely takes us out, right? It takes some people, it takes some people out. And it may be that the reason why it takes them out is because they may not have faith or whatever, or they have not grown in their faith. And so these small things, these light afflictions, right, can end up taking them out. And I don't want to say that, and I've been taken out myself, not necessarily, it didn't kill me, but, pain and things that I've gone through have, left me, in a bad place. And I eventually overcame those things. But it wasn't until after overcoming those things and then hindsight thinking about, oh, okay, I see why. I see now. And so how can you just think about going through stuff and pain, being in pain? How can pain be purposeful? Because I'll say this, sometimes we go through things and we don't really we wish we didn't have to. But I know a wise person will say, and even in the Bible that says that there's a reason for your pain. So what? And a lot of people got that question, like, okay, what is the reason? Because I can't see no reason for this at all. So how can pain be purposeful?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm actually in a process of writing a book called Purposeful Pain. All things are working for your good, and it goes back to what you said. While you're going through the process of pain, you may think, okay, this is unbeneficial to me. This is crazy. Like, why are these bad things happening to me? Like you said, after you went through it and you overcame it, you start to see, oh, okay, I went through that because in order to go through that, I had to get to this. And in order to go through that breakup and that divorce, I got to see why it all happened. And so pain is purposeful because, and this is just me, I guess it's my bias or what have you, but there's nothing under heaven that God isn't in control of. And so the reason why your pain is purposeful is because he's in control. Everything that you go through was already written or scripted inside of you to go through that. You know what I'm saying? It's not to hurt you, but it's to show you stuff. You can't be the CEO without being the employee. You can't be the doctor without being the nurse. You know what I'm saying? Everything has a purpose, and you have to allow yourself to go through those obstacles, because some people can look, had I not went through that, I wouldn't be able to deal with this. You know what I'm saying? You just have to allow those things to happen. And it may tend to not look good at first. It may tend to be a bad situation. That's how it looks, but that's just the starting line. That's just the process, right? Everything before a baby is birthed, a mom has to go through the pain, right? She has to push the baby out, but the outcome of it is the baby. It's a gift. And so purposeful pain is just showing you that all things are working for your good. Even though it doesn't look good now, it does have an end, because joy comes in the morning.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. It's just that the point, the thing about it is when you're in the middle of it,
it sucks.
It sucks, and you cannot connect the dots, because sometimes, and I've experienced this in my life, sometimes it seems like, okay, the thing that you're going through, you might think, okay, even if you do think, okay, I can see I'm going through this because of this. Sometimes that's even wrong. if you try to think that it's exactly for this, and God may have other plans, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes you can't really make sense of it.
Yeah.
And so I believe that's why a lot of people think that it's not purposeful, because you're right. The thing that it leads to the next thing, just like, for instance, if God wants to elevate you to a different job, or to start your business, to start your own
Mm-hmm.
business, right? You may think, okay, why why do I need to get fired from my job? Why can't I just work my job, have some other type of trouble, and then transition into starting a business? Why do I have to get fired?
Yeah.
Because that doesn't seem like God is trying to let me start a business. That seems like he's just trying to let me get fired.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
So yeah, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but so to piggyback on that, pain stuff you go through can be irrelevant to what he's trying to that he has for you, but that doesn't mean it's not purposeful, right? It may not be the job, it may be the relationships, it may be the experiences, it may be the people. So sometimes what you think it's for, it's not what it's for, but it's his plan. And trusting in his plan is kind of goes back to the first question. I mean, the first question you asked me, the topic that we talked about was faith, right? So there'll be times where you were in a relationship and you're like, oh my gosh, we divorced. Like, why would that happen to me? Well, maybe he's trying to show you that that's not who your person was supposed to be. Or maybe he's trying to show you what to not expect, and so therefore you know what to expect in a woman or what to expect in a man. There's always strategic loopholes that God uses that sometimes may be irrelevant to us, but it's all part of the plan. And that still goes back to the purposeful pain aspect, that even though what you're going through may not look good, and sometimes you may not see the results in the next or the next or the next, but it has a purpose. And it may not be 10 years from now or 20 years from now. It may be something you use for your grandkids or your great great grandkids. Because what I've learned is some of the pain that we go through isn't for us.
That's it right there, man. That's it.
Some of the pain that we go through isn't for us.
Yep.
My mom and my dad used to always tell me, I didn't do, she said, I didn't do all the things that they did early for themselves. They did it for me and my brother and my sister. And now we see sometimes, and that also goes for a blessing, man. Sometimes God will bless you, and that blessing not for you, it's for somebody else. I've been in so many instances where God would give me like a lump sum of money, and I'm like, yes, let's go. We finna go. Wait, hold on a second. Then somebody comes and knocks on my door. Somebody sends me an email saying, hey, I'm going through this, that, and the third. Is there a way you can help me?
Yeah.
That blessing wasn't for me. And so pain and blessings work that way. But like I said, it goes back, it all has a purpose, because it's not always for you. And you have to have that, you have to have so much faith. That's why we said working on your faith, because the more you work on your faith, the more you trust.
Wow.
The more you
Yeah,
start
that's
to
it.
trust. Yeah.
That's it, man. That's yeah. You're right. I think if a lot of us knew that the purpose behind our pain, we can endure it more, and we won't make a lot of mistakes.
Mm.
Because sometimes I think even going through some of the things, sometimes you're in it longer. Like you're in the wilderness. If you're in the wilderness season, you're in that season longer sometimes, because you're not learning what you're supposed to be learning, and you don't really
Whew.
have the vision for what
Yeah.
God is trying to do.
Yeah.
So that leads me to my next question, and I don't know if you had something to say right there.
Uh, I'll let you keep going. I will let that one go. Go ahead.
Yeah. So that leads me to my next question. Sometimes it's because we don't even have the vision to know what God is trying to take us through. So the
Mm-hmm.
next question is, what is the importance of vision?
Yeah. It's I'm gonna start off by saying it's very important. Like you said, you kind of hit it right on the head, man. You gotta have some type of direction. You cannot just be at your job working just to get a paycheck. You cannot just be raising the kids because that's your job. You cannot just be a husband because it's required of you to be a husband to stay with that. No, no, no. You can't do those things. Everything has to have vision. I embrace the importance of a vision board. I'm a visual person. Solomon says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. We have to change. Sometimes you have to shift your mentality to see things differently. So with me, I have vision boards all over the place, right? Because we get so consumed on a daily basis that so much stuff can go on in 24 hours that you forget some stuff, and you forget your why. A coworkers are pissing you off. Oh, you forgot why. You know, you just get so mentally destructed. And I have vision boards on everything I want to accomplish. I got the dream house, the dream this, that, and the third. Okay, I want to go this. I want this degree. You have to see it. If you don't see it, if you don't have nothing to look at, what are you working for? And I think that's a conversation that a lot of people have to have with themselves. What am I doing this for? Why do I get up and beat myself up every morning to go punch a clock? What am I doing it for? And you have to have that why. You can't just wake up in the morning and just get up and live. Every morning that you wake up, there's as long as there's breath in your body, you have a purpose. You have a purpose, you have vision. God has a vision for you, right? It may not be written in words on the wall to where you can see it, but that's the point of us living this thing called free will. That's the point of us living on this world, having all the opportunities and all the schools you can go to and all the resources and all the man, social media is a great one. I mean, just in my young years of living, I've found so much innovation through social media that's given me vision. For the people out there that are scared to take that next opportunity, sometimes God will show you things in your next season. It won't always look like it's supposed to look like. I know it's kind of going back to the purposeful pain aspect, but it kind of ties into one another. But the importance of vision is so you have something to look forward to. Like I said, you can't just wake up and just be a being. You have to have something that's saying something that gives you ambition, something that gives you drive, something that wakes you up in the morning. What is your why? It could be, oh, for my kids. I want my kids to have a great life. I want my kids to have a life better than what I had. If you came from the projects, if you came from a drug addict family, if you came from alcohol, if you came from all this, you want those kids to have something different. You know what I'm saying? I grew up seeing my parents struggle in essence. I was like, no, I don't. That's just part of the reason. I just don't want that anymore. I told my mom and my dad, like, y'all not gonna have to work when it's all said and done. Y'all get to sit back, kick your feet up. That's just a little part of the goal. And also I have it for myself as well, but you have to have a why, and that why is through your vision. And I encourage anybody who doesn't have vision, if you have to Google something, find something that you like to do, find your niche, find your passion, find your calling, and use that as ambition, not because you have to. Never do something because you have to do it. Do something because you love to do it, because you love to see the benefits of it. And that's the importance of vision, man. It helps you have um, it's healthier.
Mm-hmm.
It's healthier. You know what I'm saying? I wake up every morning smiling. Oh, it's gonna be a great day today. It's gonna be a great day today. I don't care what nobody. It's gonna be a great day. Why? Because I have vision. Because I see something. I have something that I want to go after. And you have to have vision, man. You
Yeah.
have to have vision.
Yeah, man. That's what gets you out of bed, man. I, I hear people say things like, and people that that are close to me and that I love dearly say things like, I just wish I can just stay in the bed and stuff like that. And I
Yeah.
know they're just trying to, they just want to relax and stuff like that. And I get it. I want to relax too, at times. But I don't think I don't care even if the weekend or whatever. It can be Saturday morning. When I wake up, I'm ready to get out of bed because I got
Yeah.
stuff to do. Like even if there's nothing planned, I got stuff that I want to work on. I want to read. I want to do. Like I got stuff to do, right?
Yeah.
And it's because of I got a vision. I got a
Mm-hmm.
vision for what I want to accomplish, and so I don't really. I'm not a let's stay in the bed type of person. Like I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm ready to get. I hate staying in the bed. Matter of fact,
Yeah.
because I feel like I ain't doing nothing,
Yeah.
right? And so I just I don't want to understand that. And so many people don't have vision, man. So many people, especially our people, they really don't. And I don't know if it's because it was never modeled to them. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
if you grow up and you see parents that sometimes it's not even any fault of their own because they were only like, for instance, I just feel like that so many people don't have certain things modeled in front of them. They don't have,
Yeah.
like we were talking about, growing in faith. They've never had that modeled in front of them. They never had parents or whatever that lived on purpose. They never had
Yeah.
parents that knew how to manage their money and their finances and their time. And sometimes it's not just because the parents were lazy. They just didn't know. They didn't,
Yeah.
it didn't never occur to them.
Yeah.
And so, like, for a person like that who just doesn't know where to even begin, like how do they even start to just do so many things like get a vision? Like how do they even start?
Yeah. Man, that's actually a great question. I'm gonna see how I can break this one down. So speaking off experience here, I've been that person. You know, I've only spoke on experience. If I've never had experience or something, I won't talk about it. I'm not gonna be sitting up here lying to you. You know what I'm saying? That's wasting your time and mine.
Yeah.
But I've been that person to where you wake up and you look and you just roll over. I've been that person to where I didn't want to go outside because outside, nah. I've been that person who was just in a deep depression, who didn't know about themselves, who was so insecure and didn't know what was next and how was I gonna do this. I've been that person that just wanted to, like you said, lay in the bed all day, have stuff handed to me, watch TV, and just be here, not present, but be here. And what helped me is when I opened the Bible, man. That might not be everybody's thing, but what helped me is when I opened the Bible. I had a calling on my life that I didn't know, but I had to go to my source, not my resources, not social media, not pornography, not eating disorders. No, my source, not my resources. Um, the moment that I did that, it changed my life forever. It changed my point of view. It changed the way I looked at things. Nothing, the things didn't change. It just changed the way I looked at things. See, there's a difference. It's called perspective. My perspective changed. The way I the way I talk changed, the way I walk changed, the way I address people changed. It was just I found myself, and I think that's for a lot of people out here, especially my generation. Man, it's bad, bro. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. I'm not trying to downplay nobody, but it's bad. Just seeing it. I mean, I'm a college student as well. I'm almost done, but just seeing it, man, its vision is not there. Half of the kids that's in college right now is because they didn't have an option. It was either college, you work, or military. And obviously, they didn't want to work and go to the military, so now they're in college. Because if you ask somebody, so what do you plan on doing with that degree? Oh, shit, I don't know. I mean, I ain't got there yet. You know what I'm saying? There's no vision. For me, it was the Bible. God told me who I was and who I to watch out for the people who told me I wasn't. I started changing the don'ts to do's. I started changing the can'ts to cans. I started changing the woulda, shoulda, all that to everything was just a positive way of thinking. And I shifted my mentality. I started reading books. I started eating healthier. I started getting physically active. I started to get active in my community. I started to share everything God shared with me with other people to open them up. But like speaking off of a personal experience, man, I opened the Bible. I went to I went to God with it, man. I feel like I've tried everything else and nothing else. That was stuff that made me happy, but happiness is just based off of your happenings. But the word says that real joy comes from the Lord, and that was that turning point for me. There are people out there who, if you might turn some, there might be something that gets you out of that. But going back to the whole faith thing, sometimes you just have to get out and not be scared and do different things. Sometimes your blessing is literally right outside your door, but you have all these distractions going on that you're not seeing it. um it's just a matter of the word doing. You just have to be willing to do. You have to have courage. You can't be scared to fail. There's been so many times that I failed. Failure is only failure if you don't get back up again.
Right.
It's you can take a loss, but you're not defeated. The battle's over, but you haven't lost the war. You cannot be scared of the word no. That's a big word that a lot of people, especially in my generation, is scared of the word no. We have been told so many things that are way worse than the word no. Somebody tells me no, okay, it may not work with you, but I'm gonna go find out where it works with somebody else. You have to have so much inside of you to say, I'm not going to allow the way I feel, what's going on around me to abort my destiny because you deserve it. You do. Because God has given it to you, man. He can give you a key to a car, and all you got to do is drive it. That's how God works. He will give you a. I was speaking on this the other day, man. When you ask God for a solution to a problem, He won't give you the solution. He'll give you an equation to solve.
Mm.
So instead of giving you a car, He'll give you the key. You just got to go find a car. You see what I'm saying? He
Yeah.
does stuff like that, and I found me, man, like it was bad. I'm not gonna lie to you, it was really bad, bro. It was bad. It was bad. It was bad. But I found me. I've never been so enlightened and so joyful every morning I wake up. It could be nothing going on. Like I find joy in everything. I could be washing dishes, man, and I'm just thankful for it because I remember where I was and what I got out of. And so for those people who don't have it, I encourage you. You mean you try drugs, you try alcohol, you try this, you try that. Why not try God? So I give it to you. I leave it at that.
Man, I couldn't agree more. If you want to know about you, you got to go to the one who made you,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah,
so that's where you definitely can get your vision. God is sovereign, so he can use anything to show you that. And you can find it, like I said, you can go to the Bible, but he'll also show it to you in real life examples through other people and stuff
yeah.
like that. And so I couldn't agree with you more. That's definitely where you start with vision and you go from there.
Hmm.
You have this term, I guess, self admiration, and I don't know if that's something like what other people say, like self care or self love or whatever. Is I don't know if that's the same thing or what. Like what is
Nah,
self admiration?
nah. Well, I can go ahead and tell you right now that self care, self love stuff is different, man. That ain't it. That ain't it. See, self admiration is inside. It's an internal thing. Self care, you can go get your nails done, you can go get your toes done, blah 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 blah. You know, self care, you can get a haircut. Us dudes, we can go get in the gym and get good. But self admiration is different. Um, there's a book I read by it's called Strength Based Leadership by Tom Rath. I don't know if you know that author, but it's great. It's called Strength Based Leadership.
Okay.
I share this with everybody because, like I said, I'm a type of person that I'm not going to get great information and be selfish and hold it to myself because that's not helping other people. Um, the one thing he said in the book is he said, I want you to get all your strengths and write it down on a piece of paper. And then he said, after you write on a piece of paper, say these things to yourself every morning and every night before you go to bed. Or I mean, even if you want to say it more, but just say these things to yourself. And then I started thinking, I was like, that ain't gonna help. And so I thought about it. When we listen to a song that's catchy, whoever you listen to, what do? We listen to it over and over and over again. And once you listen to it over and over again, what do you start doing? You start singing what you hear. What you hear, what you let in here, you start singing. There are songs that I know and I know that you know word for word. Why? Because we keep listening to it. So the way to switch that for the self-admiration aspect is that you have to say these things to yourself. Man, dude, I remember when I started speaking, when I accepted my calling. And so I was speaking, I've been speaking a lot, and I was like, man, I'm not a good speaker. I'm not a good speaker. And I remember on times I would tell myself I'm not a good speaker, and I would go speak somewhere and I would just choke. But then when I flipped it and said, I'm a good speaker, I'm a great speaker, I can do this, I can do that, I can do all things, I can do this and this, that, and the third, it started to switch. And next thing you know, I'm getting asked to be here and asked to do this. It's just the way we program our mindsets and our mentalities. And you have to say those things. Remember, self-admiration is internal. It's internal. Self-admiration is not buying yourself a purse and some shoes and taking pictures and posting on the gram, talking about grinding. That's not self-admiration. That's just called using your money in irresponsibly. That's what that's called. Self-admiration is inside. Change the way you think by changing the way you talk. You tell yourself you can do something, you'll do it. You tell yourself you can't, you never do it. You'll never do it. You just got to change the way you talk to yourself. And ever since I read that book, it's been almost about a year, and there hasn't been a day gone by in that 12-month span that I haven't told myself those things that he told me to tell myself. Your strengths. We live in a world today where people would tell themselves their weaknesses, what they can't do, who they can't talk to, who they can't marry, what job they can't get. I bring everything back to the spiritual realm. I bring everything back to the spiritual realm. I use David as an example. David was the most unqualified out of all the brothers, but he was anointed to be the king of Israel, not because he looked better or because he smelled better. Yeah, in the Bible says he had this luscious blonde hair and these blue eyes, but not because he was better, but because he was already anointed to do something. And so, for all the people who think they're unqualified, for all the people who think they're not better, for all the least likely people, it does not matter what everybody else got going on. You got to know you. In order to know you, you got to talk to yourself and say these things to yourself. So I hope I answered your question on that one, man.
Yeah, you did. You did. And I think the problem today though, man, is just it's the bar that we measuring ourselves against. Why people and social media is the worst about for this. There's some great things there. Now, social media, it's great. It's technological advancements. God let it happen, you know, and it's good. You can use social media to spread the gospel, spread the
Yeah,
word
yeah,
through
yeah,
social
yeah.
media, and it's a great thing. But the bad side of it is the standard that we've set for ourselves is the reason why we talk to ourselves negatively, because we're looking at somebody else and looking
Mm-hmm.
at their measure of success. And so now
Yeah.
we don't, we're thinking, oh, if I don't got a mansion and married with kids by 25, I'm a failure
Yeah.
because I'm looking at somebody else. And so it becomes hard for you to practice self-admiration because you're trying to measure yourself you're by somebody else's standards, and you're trying to measure your
Mhm.
beginning by somebody else's end or middle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
and I you're probably a little younger than me. I'm 41. How old are you?
I'm 21.
21. So it's probably more your generation, but even mine too. I'm right at the tail end of the millennium. I think you probably a Gen Z.
Gen Z. Yep.
Gen
Gen
Z,
Z.
right? It's even more. And with you guys, man, I pray for your generation because
Yeah.
it is like, man, if I ain't doing it by the time I'm 21, I ain't doing nothing. I ain't grinding, I ain't hustling, I ain't got a business. Like it's all of
Yeah.
that type of crap. And so it's hard for people to have that self-admiration because they're looking at they're
Other
measuring
people.
themselves by the wrong standards. I don't
Yeah.
know, would you agree?
Yeah, I agree with you. And two things on that one. One, the only person you should be competing with is yourself. The person yesterday has to be better than the person today. The person tomorrow has to be better than the person. That's say that right. No, the person today needs to be better than the person yesterday, and the person tomorrow needs to be better than the person today. My bad. And that's all it should be. You shouldn't compete with other people. Every kind of goes back to what we first started talking about. God has a plan for everybody's life, and you can't. What you said, somebody, it might be the end for somebody, and it might be the beginning for somebody. We live in a generation to where we looking at this person and that person, and we saying, I don't have what they have. But little do you know, they started grinding when you were still playing around, or they're in a season to receive and you're not. They have what it takes to handle the capacity of something like that. And you don't. You can't compete with anybody else but yourself. You don't be looking at somebody else and saying, oh, they're better than me. No, 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 no. You're right where you need to be. Where you're at right now is right where you need to be. And if you think I should be more further ahead than I am right now, then maybe it's some personal choices or some decisions you have to reconstruct in your life. But for the second part, I wanted to say, I do agree with you. We do have it bad, man. We have it bad. Like kind of goes with what I told you about the vision thing. A lot of us lack vision. And it's crazy, man. It's just crazy on the conversations you hear with people. And it's just like, why do you think that way? Like what happened back then, or who told you that you couldn't do something? It's the people with the most potential, the people who have it, who already have it, like the stuff that I have to work hard for and grind for, you're just gifted at it. And somebody tells you, like, man, that kills me sometimes, but you can only be competing with yourself. You can't compete with nobody else. The second thing I always have to say is I talk to my girlfriend about this a lot. You have to adjust your expectations. We all have that mentality of goals and stuff like that. Oh, well, I want to be here at this. And if you're not there, then like you said, it's considered failure. Or what the world likes to call success, we think it's failure because we haven't got there. You have to adjust your expectations and know that the plan has already been set. The blueprint has already been mapped out. But you have to adjust your expectations and know just because I'm not here in my timing, maybe your timing and God's timing aren't in alignment right now. And you have to like step back and be like, okay, I'm where I'm at. And that can be a pain as well. And that's purposeful pain. Because, man, look, if you don't allow God to teach you what was meant to be taught, you will find yourself in a season of repetition. You will find yourself going in a circle, in a circle, in a circle, feeling the same feelings because in this season, he was trying to teach you something. You didn't let him teach you what he was supposed to be teaching you, and you did things your way. And now you're mad at him because you're still stuck here. You know what I'm saying? So you have to adjust your expectations. Adjust your expectations. Those goals that you have written down, if they don't work at the time that you thought they were supposed to work, that is not failure. It's just not your time. That doesn't mean no. It just means wait. It's your season is coming. You just have to be patient. You just have to be patient. So adjust your expectations and only compete with yourself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's good, man. I agree. So I got one last question. And man, this has been so good. It's been good. Just given everything that we've talked about so far, and like I said,
Mm,
this show is all about personal growth, development, just being better, growing in every area of your life,
yeah.
growing in your faith, being more purposeful. How, how does a person kind of take all of that? And because I believe that everybody, like you said, we all have a purpose, and
Mhm.
we all should have a vision for our lives. But and something you like you said earlier is sometimes we go through things because it's for somebody else, right?
Mhm.
And I agree. And I always like to say it like this. I always like to say that you're not here. I tell people this all the time. You're not here for yourself. You're not living for yourself. You are
Right.
living, first of all, you're living for God. Uh,
Mhm.
or you should, in my opinion, you should be living for God.
Yeah,
You're living
yeah.
for God, and you're living for other people as well. Yeah, you're living for yourself because you got to make sure you're good. But after you're good with yourself and God, then you living for, then it's the horizontal, like the cross. It's
Yeah.
vertical with God, and then it's horizontal.
That's so
Then
good.
after you're good with yourself and God, what are you doing for others, right?
Yeah.
And how are you contributing to this world? And so how does a person contribute to the betterment of the world? Because that's what it's all about,
Yeah.
making the world a better place. So how does a
Yeah.
person contribute to the betterment of the world?
Yeah, man. First and foremost, that horizontal and vertical thing you did, that was dope, man. That was right on point. I like that. I might use that. So if you, yeah, I got you. That was good. The betterment of the world. Love your neighbor. Simple, man. Simple, 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 simple. I give back to my community in a lot of ways. I think some of that just has to do with my upbringing. I wouldn't say my youth went that way, but when my redirection from God came, he kind of like started, if this makes sense, he kind of like started me over, like I don't know how to explain. He did it. That's all that matters.
Mm.
Um, the upbringing in that season, it kind of showed me what it was like to be without. Uh, man, it was pretty bad. He showed me what it was like to, I remember being up here, and then I remember being at the bottom of the barrel to where it just, man, it was tough. It was tough. And the betterment of the world, man, is like I have a clothing line called Glorious Now. And it's to show the world that glory is now. Showing it's basically a replication of Jesus, but through your body. You know what I'm saying? Helping one another. We live in a world today, man, where it's like if it ain't my family, then you're just so irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially with driving. Oh Lord, I don't know where you stay, but I stay in Texas, man. These Texas drivers are insane. Where are you?
I'm in Maryland.
Oh, you way up there.
Yeah,
But these
yeah.
Texas drivers is insane, man. Like, it's crazy. Like, they will hit you and keep going. Your body will be on the floor. Like, they're crazy. But giving back, man, giving back to the community. If serving is your thing, serving is my thing. Tithing and all things of that nature are my thing. It's just very important because at the end of the day, whether you like something, it could be like we have a lot of political crises. We have a lot of social injustices. We just dealt with the global pandemic. Regardless of what your bias is on that, it I wouldn't say it doesn't matter, but what matters most is the physical aspect of what you do about it, your action. And if we want this world a better place for my kids, your kids, the generations next, we have to start learning how to love one another better. And that starts by serving people in every aspect, right? If you see if someone's in need, why not help them? You don't need it. That's just being greedy. You don't need it. Like, there's so many different topics you can touch on when it comes to the betterment of the world, but I guess I can keep it specifically and strategically on just serving. Be a servant. Be a servant. I didn't say be a slave because there's a difference. I'm not saying give everything and all. No, 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 no. But be a servant. You got neighbors. I don't want to get too much in detail about what 2 days ago, Ellen DeGeneres, her DJ passed away.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it was crazy because on his I did my investigation. So in social media, he had posted like something like 24 hours before that, and he was just so happy. He was with his family, beautiful family he left behind, man. It really hurt my heart. And I was just like, you don't even know what he was going through. Like, you could put on a smile just like you put on clothes, man. And it just hurt my heart. But we just gotta serve, man. Like, you got neighbors, just check on them. Go the extra mile, check on somebody, text them, email them. Even if you're not on good stands with them, ask somebody, because we the people, we as a whole unit, not just black people, not white people, not Puerto Ricans, not Jamaicans, everybody, we're in this together. And if we want the world to be a better place, we got to put our pride aside. We got to put our cultures aside. We got to put our egos and what happened back then aside, and just get with one another and say, hey, we got to do this. And I've put it on myself to put it on my back and carry that load. Like if I have to say stuff like this and voice my opinion and piss a couple people off because of what they believe in, I guess, to tell them that, hey, just because we're two different colors don't mean we can't be friends. Or just because we grew up from two different backgrounds don't mean I can't love you like I love somebody of my background. We have to put all that stuff aside, man, and realize at the end of the day, we still human. I got a heart like you do. I got a brain like you do. Some people don't use it. But, we got to put all this aside, man. That'll make the world a better place for sure. And I just do that by serving. If it's homeless people, if it's people outside a grocery store that's in need, whatever it looks like, man. Just that's the one thing I tell my girlfriend all the time. How can I serve you? Not necessarily because you need or want something, but how can I serve you? Just because. Is there something I can do for you? Something, anything. How can I serve you? And I think that needs to be the mentality for a lot of people.
Man, that's so good. That's what it's all about. Serving, making the world a better place, and living for something other than yourself. Man, I've been talking with Jonathyn J. Williams. It's been a great conversation. Hey, Jonathyn, one last thing, man. Just let us know how we can connect with you.
Oh yeah, man. Instagram, just I am Jonathyn J. Williams. I have a YouTube channel where you could catch my my podcast called The Uprise on there. It's just Jonathyn J. Williams. Same thing for Facebook. I believe I'm on Twitter. But it's just I am Jonathyn J. Williams or Jonathyn J. Williams.
All right. Hey, everybody go connect with Jonathyn Williams, man. Jonathyn, man, it's been a pleasure. Hey, I hope everybody enjoyed my conversation with Jonathyn Williams. That's it. That's all I've got for this episode. Thank you for watching and listening. And listen, if you like the show, please rate it, leave a review in iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you're listening. If you're watching this on YouTube, like it and share it with somebody who you know will benefit from it. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe so that you can get the updated episodes when they get released. Thanks again for watching and listening. And remember, let's win in life. And to do that, you got to keep a growth state of mind. I'm L.A. Davis, and I'll catch you on the next episode.